Hi learners, welcome to the program Data Mining. So today's topic is clustering and applications. Clustering and its applications. So for now we have covered the third module. So here we are entering in the fourth module of the program. So topics I will be covering today is cluster. What is clustering? Clustering analysis, clustering applications, typical requirements of clustering in data mining, categorization of major clustering methods, which are partitioning method, hierarchical, density based and grid based. Today I will be cover the partitioning method. Let's start. What is clustering? So cluster, that is nothing but is a group of objects that belongs to the same class. In the other words, we can also say similar objects are grouped in one cluster and dissimilar type of objects are grouped into the another cluster. So that is called as cluster. What is clustering? Clustering is the process of making a group of abstract objects into classes of similar type of objects, right? So clustering analyzes data objects without consulting a known class label. That consulting a known class label. A cluster of data objects can be treated as a one group. Okay. While we are doing clustering analysis, we first have to partition the set of data into the groups based on the data similarity. And then we have to assign the labels to that groups. So that is the first step we have to do while we are doing the clustering analysis. The main advantage of clustering over classification is that it is adaptable. That is adaptable to changes. And that also helps single out useful features that distinguish different groups. So, as we have already covered the classification methods, here clustering is nothing but that is the adaptable to changes, and that also helps to single out useful features from that distinguish from the different groups. So that is a very interesting method also. So here in this example in the graph, we can see here we have the customer data with respect to customer location in the city. So here we can see the XYZ axis, that is x-axis, y-axis, and that is z-axis. So we are having three types of items here, here and here. So three types of items gathered somewhere. So that is nothing but that is called as a cluster. That is a one type of cluster, that is second cluster, that is third cluster. So here, which of the distances is minimized, that is called as a intra cluster. That is distances, if distances are maximized, if distances is maximized between the two objects, that it is intercluster. So above of the three data cluster is shown here. Each cluster center can be marked as a plus, the plus sign. So here, if you are going to measure the, if you are going to do the analysis for that, so here somewhere the center of the cluster will come out. In this here, in this here. So like this, these are the three type of clusters in the above example, above graph. So the objects are clustered, are grouped based on the principle of maximizing the interclass similarity and minimizing the interclass similarity, right? So that is maximizing the interclass similarity and minimizing the interclass similarity. So behalf of that, we are going to make the different type of clusters. That is on the basis of that only that will be grouped or that will be clustered. So each cluster is formed can be viewed as a class of object. So each of that is a nothing but class of the object. Class of the object. So that is their another name. The clustering can also facilitate taxonomy formation, that is the organization of observations into the hierarchy of class that group similar type of events together, right? So in the above example, we have seen that the that is nothing but the taxonomic formation that organizes the different type of observation into the hierarchy of classes. So for example, if the same example will elaborate, a certain type of national department store chain creates some special catalog targeted to various demographic groups based on attributes such as income, location, and physical characteristics of some of the potential customers. So here the attributes are income, location, and physical characteristics. And that is from the different customers, that they are having the age, weight, and height, right? So to determine the target mailings of the various catalog and to assist in the certain creation of new, more specific catalog, the company performs a clustering of potential customers, right? So to target the mailing of various catalog and to assist in the creation of new and more specific type of catalog, the company is performing the clustering that is based on the potential customers, right? So that is based on the determined attribute group value, right? So here the company is going to cluster the potential customer based on the determined attribute value, right? So the result of the clustering exercise are the used by the management to create a special catalog. As we have seen in the question here, the company is needed to make some type of a special catalog, and then the company have to distribute them to the correct target groups. We can say population based on the cluster for that catalog. So so the one cluster is related to the some type of catalog. There are many catalog. So here we will have some type of groups. For them we have to cluster on the basis of potential customers and the basis of attribute values. So here we will come into the cluster analysis. So the first thing we will measure the similarity of the two objects. So for the similarity measure, we need to calculate the distance between the both of the objects. So the first method is we can do the Euclidean distance measure. In that, if the attribute is continuous type of attribute, then only we are going to measure the Euclidean distance between the two objects. Other some problem specific measures are also there, like k-means, k-centroid, some type of measures to measure the similarity between the two data objects. The process of grouping a set of physical abstract objects into the classes of similar objects, that is called as a clustering. So clustering is nothing but the process of grouping a set of abstract objects into the classes of similar objects. That is the clustering. A cluster is a collection of data objects that are similar to the one another within the same cluster, right? So, and are dissimilar to the other type of clusters, right? So a cluster of data objects can be treated collectively. The data objects can be treated collectively as one group and so may be considered as a form of data compression. So that can be also considered as a data compression example. So that was all about the cluster analysis. Clustering applications. So on which of the applications we are going to use the clustering? We are going to use the cluster analytics tool that is based on the k-means k methods, and several methods have also been built into the many statistical analysis software packages. We can say systems such as S+, SPSS and SAS. These are the software on the basis of that the several type of methods have been built that are none other than k-means, k-medoids, etc. That are the cluster analytics tools, right? The cluster analysis has been widely used in numerous applications, as I have told you, that is including market research, pattern recognition, data analysis, and image processing, right? So the clustering is the another method for which we have to classify the, we have to group the similar type of data objects within the same cluster. So that is widely used in the market research, pattern recognition, data analysis, and as well as image processing. In business, clustering can help marketers discover distinct groups in their customer base. So this is the another application on which we can use the clustering, in that the marketer will discover the distinct group on the basis of customer base, and then they will characterize the customer group based on the purchasing patterns. So they are going to find the future analysis. They are going to predict about the purchasing patterns about the correct customers, and on the basis of that they'll be discovering the distinct group, right? And in another example, in biology, it can be used to derive plants and animal taxonomy, to categorize different type of genes with similar functionality, and that will gain the insight into the structures inherent in population. So for example, nowadays corona is increasing, so on that we can also can find the taxonomy of that, and on the basis of that we have to characterize the genes of that, and if there are similar functionality, then we can also visualize the same of the patterns or structures that is inherent from the other type of populations. So the clustering is using for these type of applications. Clustering is also called as a data segmentation in some applications, right? That is also another name, that is data segmentation, because clustering partitions large data sets into the groups according to their similarity. So clustering is nothing but the data segmentation, that is also partitioning the larger data sets into the groups. Okay, so clustering may also help in the identification. That is none other than that is the identity of the some type of based on the applications only. So it also help in the identification of area of similar type of land using in an Earth observation database. So if we are having the observatory database, in that if there is the similarity in land using, so then it is the clustering is going to identify the group of houses in the observatory globe, and then it will identify that. On the other example, in a group of house in a city, according to the house type, value, and the geographic location, will be projected as by the clustering, as well as the, and apart from that, the identifications of group of automobile insurance policy holders with a high average claim cost, that is also can be clustered from the clustering method. Clustering can also be used for outlier detection. Outlier detection. So we have already discussed about the outlier. Outlier is the data point or data object which is beyond the our space, using space. So that is the noise, we can also say. So the applications of outlier detection include the detection of credit card fraud. So credit card fraud. Here in the credit card fraud, in the credit card fraud, what they can do? They can steal the CVV and the credit card number and the some of the information based on the customer. If they steal, they can enter, and there can be a possibility they can use the some amount of the credit card. So that is comes under the detection of credit card fraud. So in that this type of things comes under the outlier. So that is beyond the what is the already written documentation. So that is beyond of that. So we have to measure that detection, and we need to monitor the criminal activity apart from using the credit card history. So there are also possibility of criminal activities in the electronic e-commerce. For that, we can also use the outlier detection method. Typical requirement of clustering in data mining. So some of the requirements are there. First is scalability. When we are going to cluster the some of the data in the data mining. So scalability is the first. Many clustering algorithm work well on the small type of data sets. First is scalability. In that, many custom clustering algorithm work well on the small data sets, as we know, that containing few and the several hundred data objects. So in the similar, however, a large database may contain the millions of objects. So where we are using the clustering algorithm that is working very, very good on the small type of data sets. And on the other hand, that the large databases which may contain millions of objects, on that also the clustering algorithm is working. But clustering on a sample of a given large dataset may lead to the biased results. Why? Because there may have the chances of similarity, there may chances of the missing data, there may chances of the some we can say the fraudulent on the data. So on the basis of that, we can have the biased result also. So we have to scale the highly scalable clustering methods algorithm for that to work on the larger type of data sets. Second is the ability to deal with different types of attributes. So many algorithms that are designed to cluster interval-based numeric data. Some of the algorithm that is used to design the cluster interval-based, we can say numeric type of data. So however, applications may require clustering other types of data also, such as binary, categorical, that is also nominal, and ordinal data, and the mixtures of these data types. So that is also open to the ability to deal with the different type of attributes, right? Third is discovery of clusters with arbitrary shape. So many clustering algorithm determine the cluster based on the Euclidean and Manhattan distance measures, right? So many of the clustering methods is using the Euclidean method and Manhattan distance measure to measuring the distance between the two objects. if there is a cluster of some objects, we have to measure the distance that. So some of the methods are there, that is Euclidean distance and also the Manhattan and many more. So there are formula to measure that distance between them. So algorithm based on the such distance measures tend to find spiral clusters with the similar size and density, right? So if we will use these algorithm to measure the distance, that can also have the spiral clusters with the similar size and density, right? So however, a cluster could be any shape, that could be of any shape. It is important to develop algorithm that can detect cluster of arbitrary shape. So for that we need to identify and we need to use some type of algorithm who can detect the arbitrary shape of the clusters, right? So fourth one is minimal requirement for domain knowledge to determine input parameters. Many clustering algorithm data requires users to input certain parameters in the cluster analysis. So as we are going to use the distance between the two objects, we have to know about the parameters between the two of the data objects. So there are the inputs, we can say parameters on which we have to do the cluster analysis, such as the number of desired clusters in this example. So the clustering results can be quite sensitive to input parameters. So sometimes it can also be very, very sensitive to the input parameters. Why? Because parameters are often difficult to determine, especially for data sets who are containing the high dimensional objects. So on the basis of that can be sensitive to find the result of while we are doing the cluster analysis. So this not only burden the users but also makes the quality of clustering difficult to control. So this was the some problems, we can say some type of clustering requirement. On the basis of that, we have to be very, very minimal requirement. We have to find the very, very minimal requirement for the domain knowledge while we are going to do the clustering analysis on the basis of some domain, so that we can find out some type of input parameters. For fifth one is ability to deal with noisy data. So noisy data, that is similar to the outlier. So most of the real world database contain the outliers. We can say missing value, we can say unknown value, we can say error value. Okay. So some clustering methods, algorithm are sensitive to the such type of data, and that can also lead to cluster of poor quality. So there should have the some ability to measure or deal with this type of noisy data, or we can say the outlier data. Next is incremental clustering and insensitivity to order of the input records. So some clustering algorithm that cannot incorporate newly inserted data while we are doing the database update. So here in the database update, in the existing clustering structure, while we are doing the newly inserted, while we are inserting the newly data, they can incorporate, they cannot incorporate. So instead of that, must determine a new clustering from scratch. So here we have to do the clustering from the start, right? We have to stop that, and again we need to start the clustering. So some of the clustering algorithm are sensitive to the order of input data. So because of that, they are very, very insensitive to the order of input records. So that is given set of data objects, such as algorithm may return dramatically different clusterings depending on the order to presentation of the input objects. So that is none other than we have to check that is on the on the existing clustering that is very insensitive. Okay, so it is important to develop incremental clustering algorithm and algorithm that are insensitive to the order of input. So we need to develop the incremental clustering algorithm for that, while we are having the insensitive for the given input records. Next is high dimensionality. A database, or we can say data warehouse, can contain several dimensions and attributes, right? So that can contain the different type of dimensions for the attributes. So many clustering algorithms are good at handling low dimension data involving only 2 or 3 dimensions, right? So if we are having the low dimension data, so the methods we are using for clustering that only involves the 2D and 3D type of data. Also, the human eyes are good at judging the quality of clustering for up to 3D. Okay. Also, in reality, on the real-time example, we only have to measure the 3-dimension data. So, finding the cluster of data objects in high dimensional space is challenging, especially considering that such data can be sparse or highly skewed. So that we need to arrange some good type of algorithms, right? So next is constraint-based clustering. Next is constraint-based clustering. So real-world applications may need to perform clustering under various kind of constraints. Suppose if your job is to choose the location for a given number of new automatic banking machine ATM in the city. If we have to choose the locations for a given number of new ATMs in the city, right? So to decide upon this, you may cluster household while considering constraints such as the city river, the highway network, and the type of number of customers per cluster. So we need to identify the city, river, highway network, and the type and number of the customers per cluster. What are the customers are there? A challenging task is to find group of data with good clustering behavior that satisfy specified constraints. So here we can have the challenge to find the group of data with good clustering behavior, right? Next is interpretability and usability. Users expect clustering results to be interpretable, comprehensive, and usable. That is, clustering may need to be tied to a specific semantic interpretation and applications. So that it is also important to study how an application's goal may influence the selection of clustering features and methods. So here there should be a interpretability and usability method, so that we can have the we can expect the clustering result as we can interpret and comprehend and use that, right? Outlier analysis. What is outlier analysis? A database that can contain data objects that don't comply with general model of data. These data objects are outliers, right? In other words, the data objects which don't fall within the cluster will be called as the outlier data objects. So, which are the data objects out from the cluster? If you are having some cluster which are out of the cluster, that are none other than that are the outliers, right? Here we need to do the outlier analysis for that. So, noisy data and exceptional data are also called as a outlier data. Okay. So, the analysis of outlier data is referred as a outlier mining. That we can say as a outlier mining. For example, the outlier analysis may uncover fraudulent uses of credit card by detecting the purchase of extremely large amount of for a given account number in comparison to regular charges incurred by the same account, right? So if there is a possibility, if there is fraudulent, we can have the outlier analysis and we can discover the purchase of extremely large amount for a given account number by if that is comparing with the regular charges of incurred by the same of the bank account. So here that was called as an outlier, and we have to do the outlier analysis. Outlier values may also detected with respect to the location and type of purchase, or we can say purchase frequency. So what are the how many times the customer is going to purchase, and what is the location, current location that is detected earlier in historical data. So we also need in the cluster in the outlier analysis, we have to also detect the same things while we are having the analysis for that. So that was the example of outlier. Categorization of major clustering methods. So there are some clustering methods that are partitioning algorithm, hierarchy algorithm, density based algorithm, grid based and model based. So these are the some clustering methods we are going to discuss. First is partitioning algorithm that constructs the various partitions and then evaluate them by some of the criteria. So in partition algorithm, we need to construct various type of partition and then we need to evaluate them by the some criteria. In the hierarchy algorithm, we need to create a hierarchical decomposition of the set of data, or we can say objects, using some criteria. In density based method, that is based on the connectivity and density functions. So that will work on the density functions. Grid based algorithm, that is based on a multiple level granularity structure. If we are having the granularity structure, then we are going to use the grid based methods, right? Model based methods, a model is a hypothesized for each of the clusters, and then the idea is to find the best fit for the model to each other. So in this, we need to assume the model for that, and then we need to find the best fit for that from the model. So that is the model based method for the clustering. First is partitioning method. A partitioning method constructs k partitions of the data, right, where each partition represents a cluster, okay, and k is less than and equal to m. That is, it classifies the data into k of the groups, right, and which together satisfy the following of the requirement. So first requirement is each group must contain at least one object. Each group must contain at least one of the objects. In each of the cluster, they should have the one minimum object. And if each of the object must belong to the exactly one of the group, right? So that can be based on the class levels, right? A partitioning method creates an initial partitioning. It then uses an iterative relocation technique. First, the partition method that initialize the partition, right? After that, it uses the iterative relocation technique that attempts to improve the partitioning by moving objects from one group to another group, okay? So group is nothing but the cluster. The general criteria of a good partitioning is that the object in same cluster are close, right, are related to each other, whereas the objects of different clusters are far apart, are very, very different. So that is obvious. In the cluster, the objects should be the similar, then only that will be the good partitioning of the cluster. In the dissimilar cluster, the data points or data objects that will be very, very different, right? So on the basis of that, we need to partition the data. The basic concepts are in the partitioning method, we need to construct a partition of a database D of n objects that into the set of k clusters. So given a k, find a partition of k clusters that optimizes the chosen partitioning criteria. So this is the algorithm of that partitioning method. In that given a k, that find a partition of k cluster that optimize the chosen partition. So criteria are global, optimal. So exhaustively enumerate all of the partition, that is global optimum. Heuristic methods, k-means and k-medioids algorithm, that we need to apply on that. K-means a McQueen 67, that is also called a McQueen 67 method. What is that? Each cluster is represented by center of the cluster. K-means is nothing but in that each cluster is represented by the center of the cluster, right? K-medioid are PAM, partition around medioids, that is discovered by Kaufman and Rosway 87. So in that each cluster is represented by the one of the object in the cluster, right? One of the objects in the k-medioid, and k means that is the center of cluster, that is defined by the cluster of that is the center of the cluster, that is denoted by plus sign. Given X, the k-means algorithm is implemented into the 4 of the stages. That will comes into the 4 of stages. The first stage is that partition the objects into the k non-empty subset. That after that will compute seed points as the centroids of the clusters of the current partition. The centroid is the center, a mean point of the cluster. Centroid is nothing but the middle, mean point. Or we can say average point of the cluster. So we need to compute that. Then after we need to assign each object to the cluster with the nearest seed point. Then we need to go back to the second of the step, that is computing seed point as the centroid of the cluster to the current partition, and then that is and then it is assigning the each objects to the cluster of the needed seed point, and then stop when no more new assignment will be there. So that was the implementation step of the k-means algorithm. Okay. So some of the comments on k-means method are: first is strength. In strength, we need to calculate the relatively coefficient, that is O of Tkn, whether n is the number of objects, k is the number of clusters, and t is the number of iterations. Normally k, t belongs to n, right? So that was the strength of the k-means method. Often terminates at a local optimum. Sometimes it is terminates at a local optimum. Then the global optimum may found using techniques such as deterministic annealing and genetic algorithm. When we need to find the global optimum, for that we need to use some of the techniques that are deterministic annealing and genetic algorithm, right? Some weaknesses are that: first weakness is that applicable only when mean is defined. Then what about the categorical data? That is only depend on when mean is defined. If we are having the categorical data, then what we will have? So that is the weakness of the k-mean algorithm. In that we need to specify k, the number of clusters, in advance, right? So we need to find out the k, how many clusters we are going to use, how many clusters we are going to divide, 1, 2, 3 or any more number, and what is the number of that? K is equal to any number. And that is unable to handle the noisy data and outliers also. The k-means algorithm k-means method is unable to handle the noisy data and outlier data also. That is also not suitable for discovering clusters with non-convex shapes. If we are having the data with non-convex shapes, then we can also cannot measure the cluster. For that we cannot discover, we cannot analyze the clustering analysis for the same data. So that was the weakness of the k-means algorithm. Variations of k-means method. A few variants of the k-means which differ in selection of the initial k-means, dissimilarity calculations, and strategy to calculate cluster mean. So these are the some variations we can measure. In that we need to identify the k. We need to identify the dissimilarity of between the two of the objects in the cluster. We need to calculate the cluster mean. What are the cluster is there? The mean and average of the same cluster. So the handling categorical data. If there are the categorical data, we need to handle that. So we need to calculate the k mode that is invented by Huang 98. So first we will do the replacing, that is replacing means of the cluster with nodes. Cluster with modes. First we need to replace the mean of the cluster with the mode. We need to change the mean by the mode, right? First part. Second part is using new dissimilarity measure to deal with categorical objects. Here we need to use the dissimilarity methods. So some of the dissimilarity method and formula we have seen, right? So on the basis of that we have to measure that for the categorical type of data, right? Third is using a frequency based method to update mode of clusters. So in that we need to use the frequency based methods while we are updating the mode for the clusters, right? Fourth one is a mixture of categorical and numeric data. If you are having the mixture of categorical and numeric data, then the K prototype method will be suggested. Thank you. So that was all about the clustering and their applications. In the next part, we will go into the other type of methods, clustering methods. So thank you for watching.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.